Hello everyone, and welcome back to another short episode from OpenUp at the workplace. I'm Lizzy, and today we're exploring how to encourage speaking up at work. We notice that people find it difficult to speak up at the workplace. Why is it difficult to do this? Well, for many, the idea of sharing their thoughts and opinions feels like stepping into the spotlight, and this can be a daunting task. Extroverted individuals may find this natural. This behavior does not apply to everyone. Many people are just a bit more introverted and reserved, and they prefer to keep their thoughts, opinions, and feelings more private. But besides personality traits, there's often a deeper layer to it. For many, sharing our inner thoughts can feel very vulnerable, and we may fear what others will think of our inner world. Our inner selves sees the potential to get hurt by the judgment of others as a very real danger. By not speaking up, we simply avoid the risk altogether. Looking at it from an evolutionary perspective, there's actually an explanation behind the fear of judgment. Humans are inherently social beings, which means that belonging to a group is essential for survival. And while this is an instinct from many thousands of years ago, the same mechanisms still affect us today, but in a different setup. At the workplace, things that employees could perceive as a risk are, for example, standing out negatively within the team at work, and then being judged or rejected because of this. Or risking being labeled as incompetent, unprofessional, or difficult. So a natural reaction is that they just avoid the risk altogether and keep their opinions to themselves. And let's not forget the influence of company culture. Of course, in environments lacking openness and diversity of thought, or organizations with a high level of competition and hierarchy, speaking up becomes an uphill battle. So, as you can see, it's not always just as simple as speaking up. We must build empathy for those who struggle with this and can't expect everyone to effortlessly voice their opinions. There are some strategies for this in psychology, and you can apply them within your team and organization too. In our consultations, we often see people that are struggling with different things at work. But if we ask them if they have spoken with their manager or other colleagues about this is often not the case. They are afraid to speak up and the possible consequences this may have. Or it just simply doesn't come to their mind to talk about it, as it is more common to just talk about the work itself that needs to be done. But in fact, keeping the emotions bottled up only makes the problem worse. Opening up and having those difficult conversations can decrease the pressure, allowing for a more authentic self to be shown. It's like a balloon that fills up with air the more tension you experience. If you don't do something about it, it only stays in and maybe even pops. But by talking about it, about what's going on, you can let some air out bit by bit. So we usually help people during our consultations to prepare for these moments, where they want to speak up, and we encourage them to do so. Whether this is a performance review, a meeting they've scheduled in themselves, or another session that they're having with their manager. In preparing for these conversations, we try to make it very clear and concrete. For this, we encourage them to think, what do they hope to achieve with this conversation? What is the feeling they have and they want to express? And what are their needs? Practicing these dialogues, whether through role play or written exercises, helps build confidence and to express what's really important to them. For example, as a result, a client will be able to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed by task ABC, and to improve this, I need regular check-ins and to drop task A. As a manager or an HR professional, you can adopt these exact strategy to create a more open culture at the company. For example, you can encourage your team and leaders to take 10 minutes before important meetings to go through that same preparation process and write down, what am I feeling? What do I want to express? What is my underlying need? And what is a possible solution? Another great way to support a speak-up environment is to train yourself and your leaders to go beyond service level and content level questions like, what's going on? Encourage conversations where there is a space to ask questions like, how do you feel in your work? Or what do you need to feel safer in this task? This way, you encourage employees to connect the dots between the factual information of what is going on to their own emotions and how it's affecting them. Invite them to open up about what's really important to them. Give enough room for emotions to be part of the conversation and show that it's okay to share these. Being able to reflect on emotions and not only facts is a very powerful communication skill here. Here, leading by example is crucial. As HR or a manager, showing that you experience struggles too, sharing your own emotions and needs can be transformative. Embracing vulnerability creates a more open company culture, especially when it comes from someone higher in the hierarchy. This sets a powerful example, giving team members permission to speak up themselves. And lastly, it's important to be very proactive in inviting people to speak up. Simply saying, all opinions are welcome, or my door is always open, might not always be enough. Sometimes you need to actually ask people for their insight and ask them how they are doing, what they think, and how they're feeling. For this, you can offer different channels of communication and speak up. Not everyone feels comfortable speaking up in a group or in a company-wide call. Providing options like written communication, one-on-one calls, or other channels ensures that everyone can express themselves in a way that feels safe and comfortable. I hope this has inspired you to foster more understanding, encourage speaking up in a safe way, and collaborate in creating an open communication together. Let's continue learning from each other. Let's open up at the workplace.